With us, we have another expert joining us on the phone line, Riaz Thingna, who's the director at Grant Thornton, who's the advisor and is also a director there, and is an expert on this particular bit and tracks tax developments very, very closely. So, Mr. Thingna, thanks for joining us. Of course, wanted to understand, is it going to really tackle the abuse of tax treaties that the government has really wanted to do? Will this be effective enough, and what are your first reactions on this?
The first reaction is that while this protocol is definitely going to bring in a certain amount of certainty, and that to my mind is positive. But on the other hand, the entire tax planning which has been done on capital gains tax, now, with this protocol, capital gains tax will be levied at the rate of 50% of the domestic rate, which substantially reduces the benefits that FIIs and FPIs enjoyed so far. Now, also, in addition to this, the new limitation of benefit clause will definitely affect some of the companies which have been set up, because now we will need to incur at least 27 lakh rupees as expenditure to claim benefit. The bigger impact that I see is the fact that this will also affect all entities established in Singapore. So definitely there is a substantial reduction in the benefits through this protocol, but on the positive side, there is the certainty element which comes in, and it may go to some extent towards reducing the abuse of the treaty provisions.
All right, certainty and reducing the abuse, and those who do round tripping, they stand to really take a knock because of this, Mr. Thingna. But Mr. Choksi, I was coming to exactly this point. Your entire tax planning for future is going to go off track. How is the market expected to take that bit?
Well, I think let's put it this way. Which other country of the world, I think, would allow you to tax at 10% rate of tax? Even if I think one assumes that I think it is at 50% of the prevailing tax, and effective tax in the country is say 20 to 25%. And somewhere I think at 50% rate, I think you are basically charged tax at around 10 to 15% in between. Which country of the world I think would give you this kind of tax treatment which is so favorable? So that's my whole point, that I think even though it may be taxable, but I still feel that I think the global investor would probably feel much better off with this particular tax rate and with this particular clarity. At least the harassment goes out. At least I think they have the clarity. And even if they are taxed, I don't think it is going to affect them much. Yes, I think those who have purely made their entire arrangement based on this kind of a concession, they might feel somewhere, I think, disadvantages. But according to me, I think these are all probably, I think, short-term views that one would take. In the long term, I think for the new investors to come into the country, for the new money to come into the country, I think this clarity would be much more helpful.
Yes, Mr. Choksi, of course, clarity, yes, and less benefits coming in for investors, but government getting more in their coffers as well. That's what is going to really happen from April 2017.
Yes, I do agree with that, and I think should be happy that I think it will help manage fiscal deficit better.
Right. And Mr. Thingna, coming to you then, what about this really happening with Singapore Treaty as well? It just started with Mauritius, as the government has told us. And also going forward, how do you see GAR and this playing out from next year?
No, I think this definitely helps in terms of, preventing abuse. So to that extent, it is in the right track. It is having the necessary impact to avoid or dissuade at least general avoidance rules, which have been, there has been a misuse, there's no doubt about that. So there has been a misuse. To that extent, there will definitely be an advantage. And to be fair, I think the grandfathering clause, which allows the continuance of benefit up to 1/4/17, ensures that people who have committed the investments are not negatively affected.
All right, Mr. Thingna, as well as Mr. Choksi, for giving us that update, and also your expert take on this big development this evening. All eyes will be on markets, whether or not that takes it positively going forward. Of course, uncertainty is gone. There is more clarity going forward, but then investors have less to benefit from it. So let's see how markets really take it. It's going to be an exciting day of trades come tomorrow, but right now it's a short break on the show. But coming up on the other side, it's a huge setback for Kala.